Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to continue on with part 2 of my living room houseplant tour. There are quite a few more plants on this side of the living room, so this video will probably be just a little bit longer. Hopefully you enjoyed the first part of the living room tour. Within a few days, I'll have the sunroom plant tour up as well. I'll probably divide that into 2 parts, so you'll have that to look forward to. So anyway, let's get into this tour. Okay, so when we come into the living room, these are the plants on the right-hand side. And we're gonna start over here. And this plant here is my Black Pagoda lipstick plant. And this one I've had for quite a long time. I love it. I love the looks of the foliage, love the patterning. My only gripe with this plant is that it really hasn't been too fast of a grower for me. I did recently repot this one, and it sits in this east-facing window. I may end up moving it to where it'll get a little bit more light. Maybe that'll help to push out some more growth. I mean, we are getting some new growth, but it definitely just isn't growing as quickly as I would like it to, but that could be just the nature of the plant. So that is the Black Pagoda lipstick plant. If we move down, this is my Rattlesnake Calathea. I repotted this one about 5 weeks ago or so, the same time that I repotted my Calathea Mccoy. This one is not doing as well. It has had some yellowing leaves, but it has been some time since I repotted it, so I don't think it's just going to outright, die. But I am kind of watching it closely. I have not had any new growth really that I can see. So we're just gonna keep an eye on this one. If it doesn't make it, I will probably just end up picking up another one because I really do love this one so much. So easy to care for. I just give it distilled water. It sits in my east-facing window. Typically no crisping tips or anything like that. Just when I repotted it this last time, it hasn't bounced back the way I would have liked it to. So, but we're gonna keep an eye on this one. That's the Rattlesnake Calathea. Down here, this one is my Syndapsis Silver Cloud. This one I've only had, along with these two here, Syndapsis. I've only had these guys for about, I think, 2 months or so. I picked them up from 2 local plant friends, and I absolutely love them. Syndapsis along with Hoya are 2 of my favorite genus of plants, and if I could, I'd have them all. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And this one is the Silver Cloud. Love, love, love that one. This one here to the right, this one is my Silver Hero, and it's starting to get a little bit of a growth point there. So I'm excited for the 3rd leaf to push through, and this one is absolutely gorgeous. Love those bluish silvery leaves, very pretty. This one here to the right is my Silver Lady, and love the pattern on these leaves. A lot of them, the Syndapsis, they do look similar, but if you really look, you can definitely see the difference. For the most part, they're not super fast growers, but the beauty of the plant makes up for it. So these guys here, they are my 3 newest Syndapsis. Love them. If we move up to the top here, this one is my Alkaja Exotica or Alkaja Poly. Had this one for about 5 years, and it does pretty well for me. I hear that a lot of people struggle with this guy. I've repotted it once since I've had this guy in 5 years, I believe. and it does sit in this, I'm not sure if it is a terracotta, but similar material. So it is a porous material. And I water it when the soil is mostly dry, so like between a 2 and a 3 on the moisture meter. It does have a yellowing leaf here that I'm gonna have to remove, but for the most part, this one is doing okay for me. If you guys can see back here, that is my little whale-fin Sansevieria. I think it's probably kind of a little bit backlit. Sorry about that. This one I received from a plant friend, a YouTube plant friend, Leona. So this one I've had for a couple of years now, 3 years or so, and it's put out some new babies. Not a super fast grower, but I do love it anyway. It's very pretty. So that is my whale-fin Sansevieria. To the right of that, I have my Black Raven ZZ. This one is a super slow grower, and I repotted this one a couple of months ago. I did notice that there is a little bit of a soft tuber in there, so I'm not quite sure whether this one is going to make it or not. This is another one that I'm just kind of trying to watch. If it doesn't make it, I may end up picking up another one because I really do love this plant. But we'll see. Time will tell if it starts to push out some new growth or not. But that is the Raven ZZ. In the front here, this one is my Hoya Lacquinosa. And currently it has a little peduncle. Hasn't quite opened yet though. I think I've had this one for probably about 3 years or so. Love the Hoyas, just super easy to grow. Not a whole lot to say about this one, but I do love the leaves. It's very pretty. I mean, you really can't go wrong with a Hoya, and I have so many of them. I just love them. They really, truly are some of my favorites in my collection. So this one is the Hoya Lacquinosa. And in front here, this is my Pink Princess Philodendron. I've had this one for maybe about 1.5 years, and it has most recently been putting out some really gorgeous leaves. Here's another half moon, and then of course this one as well. Very pretty plant. This is one of those plants that initially I didn't think I would want in my collection, but then I seen that one of our local nurseries had them for sale, so I decided to pick it up. And I also have another little one back in my sunroom as well, and I'll show you that in the next plant tour, my sunroom plant tour. And if we come over here to the right, boy, terribly backlit, guys. This one here is my Syngonium Wendlandii. Love this guy. This one I think I've had for about maybe 2 years or 1.5 years. Has these gorgeous, beautiful velvety leaves with the mint green stripe down the center. Super pretty plant. Not terribly hard to care for. I basically water this one when it's mostly dry, and it really hasn't given me any issues. So that is the Syngonium Wendlandii. Back here, I'll show you this one. This one here is my Hoya Rebecca. No. This one here is my Hoya Rosita. Another beautiful, gorgeous Hoya. This one gets some nice sun stressing when it comes in. The outer edges of the leaves turn like a dark maroon, almost black color. Very pretty. This one I've only had for a couple months, I think. So that one is the Hoya Rosita. And let's see here, I have another one, which is back here. I'm not sure if you guys can see this one. try to move it around. So this guy back here is my black velvet Alkaja. This one started out with, geez, I think about 5 leaves or so. Hang on, I'll see if I can pull this one out. Okay. So this one started out with about 5 leaves or so, and I've gradually just lost all of them. This one does have a new growth point, so that is promising. But I have had one of these black velvet Alkajas before, and I ended up killing it, so kind of worried about this one as well, but we'll see. Anyway, very pretty. Love the leaves, love the color of the leaves, love the texture of the leaves. Just a super gorgeous plant. Black velvet Alkaja. Okay, if we come down to the second shelf, this plant back here, this one is my Ludicia Jewel Orchid. And this one I received from a plant friend, Myra, from Just Myra. This one I've had, geez, for probably about 4 years or so. And I love it, so pretty. Reminds me of a Rattlesnake somewhat, but this one is definitely not as fast of a grower, but beautiful nonetheless. Love it. Here in the front, this one is my Hoya Carnosa Compacta, one of them. I have another one in the sunroom. These guys have not been doing the greatest for me. Just really can't get them to grow. I repotted them a couple of times. I previously had this one in a terracotta pot, and it just did not do well when I repotted it. The roots were basically almost non-existent. They were very dried up, and the plant just, I mean, it was wrinkly, and the plant just really wasn't doing very well. But I've had this one in this pot now for about 4 months or so, and it seems to be doing better, so we'll see. And this one is the Hoya Carnosa Compacta. Love these rope-like leaves. Very unique. To the right here, I have my Peperomia prostrata, my string of turtles. This one, you guys, started out as just like 2 or 3 little strands. And I've had it for probably 2 years or so. It's put on lots of new growth. And, you know, it can be a little bit finicky. You really need to watch the watering on these guys. Be careful that it doesn't get too much sunlight, because if it gets too much sunlight, the little turtles will fade. You won't be able to see the patterning on the leaves. But for the most part, this one hasn't given me too much trouble, and I do like it. Back here is my yellow Thanksgiving cactus. Super gorgeous. The holiday cacti, as you will probably know from my previous videos, they really are some of my favorites. I love the different colors of all the blooms, and very easy plant to care for, resistant to pests, and just an all-around easygoing plant. Definitely recommend these guys. I think some plant enthusiasts kind of get bored with these guys, but I enjoy them. I enjoy that they're just so easy to care for, and you really don't get dying leaves on these guys unless you severely underwater or overwater. So they typically stay beautiful year-round, with the extra added bonus of flowering around November or December. The Christmas cactus, the true Christmas cactus, which I already showed you that one in the previous houseplant tour, that one flowers around December, and this one will flower around the end of October and into November. Gorgeous plants. Down here, this one is my Hoya Parasitica Black Margin. And this one I have had for, gosh, probably about 6 or 8 months. And the Parasitica Black Margin, when it's getting enough light, I don't know whether you can actually see whether this is showing up on camera or not, but the edges of the Parasitica Black Margin will get that black outline on the leaves. You can see that a little bit. And I love the veining on these guys. You can see the veins running through the leaves. and that pillowing kind of effect, slight pillowing, I guess. But this one is a really pretty Hoya. I like it. Hoya Parasitica, black margin. Over here to the right, this one is my Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen. This one I've had for about 5 years. She's getting quite long. And this one, you guys, is probably one of my favorite Hoyas. It's absolutely gorgeous. There really isn't too much of a problem with the plant hanging on to the variegation. It does tend to put out some of these white leaves, which I really do enjoy. I have heard from several people that their plants lose the white leaves, but mine has gotten strands of white leaves and I've never lost them. So this one here is a section of white. Let me see if I can show you. So this is like a whole section of white leaves. It's been on this plant for, gosh, probably close to the whole time that I've had the plant, and I have never lost any of the white leaves. So don't let that deter you from getting this plant, you guys. It's just, like I said, it's one of my favorites. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's the Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen. Down on the third shelf, here is another Thanksgiving cactus. This one is multicolor. This one has red and peach and white and pink. There's quite a few different colors in this one. My husband actually received several cuttings from some customers on his service calls, and I've had this one for a few years, and basically what I would do is just add the cuttings into the pot, and now we have a nice full pot of different colors, and it is absolutely gorgeous when it blooms. And again, this one is a Thanksgiving cactus, so it blooms around the end of October into November. To the right of that, I have my Tradescantia Nanook, another beautiful plant. Love those purple leaves, and when the sun is shining, the purple glow to this plant is just absolutely stunning. Initially, when I first got this plant several years ago, I was having a tough time with the leaves getting brown and crispy, but it seems to be doing fine now, so that's a good thing. And if we come over here, this one is my Hoya Rebecca, my namesake plant. I absolutely love this plant. This one is similar to the Hoya Lacquinosa, but the leaves, the patterning, the veining on the leaves is just a little bit different. And yeah, just another very cute Hoya, Hoya Rebecca. Over here, another Hoya. This one is my Hoya Matild. And this one I kind of feel like this one isn't really doing that well currently. I noticed that the leaves are getting a little bit chlorotic looking. They have a little bit of a yellow tint to them. Not sure if maybe I may have overwatered just a bit or whether it's getting too much light, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on this one. It has a peduncle here with no blooms. That might be a dried up one, I think. And there's another one, another peduncle. So that's another very cute Hoya, love it. And to the right of the Matild is this Hoya Carnosa Crinkle 8. This one is a super slow grower. I've had this one for about 4 years. It has put on a little bit of growth for me, but not really too much to speak of. I recently repotted this one, and hopefully with the change of soil and once it adjusts, it'll start to put out some more growth for me. Love the looks of this guy. Love the 8 little dimples in the leaves. Very cute. Very, very cute. Hoya Crinkle 8. Over to the right here is my Hoya Chelsea. This one I'm kind of bummed out about, you guys, because I feel like, I mean, you can tell with the Chelsea's, it has the dimpling in the leaves, much like the Crinkle 8, but the leaves are, they're supposed to be more round with the dimpling in the center here. But I kind of feel like, you guys, this one is starting to revert back to just a regular Hoya Carnosa, because the leaves are starting to get longer and more flattened out, which kind of bums me out a little bit because I already have several different Hoya Carnosas and I really love the looks of the Chelsea, but I think this one might be reverting, you guys. Ugh. I mean, you can see on some of these leaves, if I can get in here, you can see the dimpling. So it's definitely a Chelsea, and actually there's two different plants in here. One of them came from Leona, my YouTube friend. One of them came from Leona, my YouTube friend, and the other one I ended up purchasing from a local nursery here that's just around the corner from me, Chamberlain's Garden. So I don't know, kind of bummed out about this one, you guys. I'm not really quite sure what I should do. If you've run into this situation, please let me know. Did you cut it back? Did the leaves start to grow in more rounded with the dimpling? Definitely let me know, because this one's kind of bumming me out a little bit. Let's see here. If we come over here to the bottom shelf, I have what I believe is another true Christmas cactus, although the segments on this plant are so much smaller than the one that I have in my bedroom, so I'm not really sure if this is actually a Christmas cactus or if it is a type of Ripsalis, but the segments are so much smaller than my other true Christmas cactus, so I'm really not sure. To the right back here is just a regular green Maranta Lucanora. Love that one. Very, very pretty. I think this one also goes by, is it the rabbit foot Maranta, I think, because of the patterning on the leaves. So gorgeous. In front here is my Syndapsis Jade Satin. This one I've had for about 2 years, and I received it from another local plant friend. When I purchased it, it was only, I think it was 1 or 2 leaves. So pretty, love it so much. Those green, beautiful leaves. To the right here is my Silver Band Maranta. This one, a very kind, generous plant friend locally. I had put on a Facebook group that I was actually searching for this plant, the Silver Band Maranta, and a plant friend commented that she had one and that she would just give it to me because she had some other responsibilities that needed to take priority. So she wanted to pass this one down to someone that she knew would take care of it. And of course, I love it so much. I love the Marantas, although I don't really do the best with them. These types of Marantas here, the Maranta Lucanora, the green one, and the Silver Band, I seem to do better with the Red Vein Maranta and the Lemon Lime. I've killed a couple of those. So, but I think I'm getting better with these guys. I think the key to the Marantas is they like a well-draining soil along with some good circulation at the bottom of the pots. So I have them in nursery planters. I think the one in the back is, no, maybe not. The one in the back is not in a nursery planter, but for whatever reason, I just really feel that they seem to do better in the nursery pots than just a regular ceramic pot with one drainage hole. I think they really need some nice circulation at the bottom so that the roots can get some nice airflow. So that is the Silver Band Maranta. To the right here, this is my jewel orchid. This one is the Mccoys Patola. This one I've had for about 3 years. Initially I had it in a jar in like a terrarium setting, and it was getting really super leggy and I didn't like the looks of it. So I decided to plant it into soil, and it's looking absolutely wonderful. If you look at that, you can actually kind of see in the patterning of the leaves, kind of looks like little lightning bolts. This is an absolutely gorgeous plant, a little more finicky to take care of. Just be careful of the watering and don't give it too much sunlight. Too much sunlight will actually burn the leaves on these guys. So this is in an east facing window and it does sit back about 2 feet or so, and it's doing very well. Back there is a gold Thanksgiving cactus. So I have a yellow one, and this one back here is a gold one. A little bit different of a color, very, very pretty. And like I said, again, you cannot go wrong with a nice Thanksgiving cactus or Christmas cactus, holiday cactus. Very pretty. Over here to the right is my silver Bay Aglanima. And this one is doing okay. Typical Aglanima. I have lost a couple of these guys in the past. I can't say I am the best with them, but this one seems to be doing okay for the time being. I repotted this one, I want to say about 6 months ago or so. I mean, it does look a little bit yellow to me, but really it's the way the plant has looked basically since I brought it home. So I can really take or leave the Aglanimas, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind having a chocolate one, but I don't think I'll probably find one of the chocolate ones locally. If I do, I will definitely snatch it up for sure. But I would say, you know, again, I can take or leave the Aglanimas. Up here, this one is my Moonlight Philodendron. This one I received from a YouTube plant friend, Adele, over at Lifeaholic. We swapped plants a couple years back. So Adele, I still have this one and it's doing well. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And that one is the Moonlight Philodendron. To the right here, I have a Calathea Medallion. This one ended up getting down to just 1 leaf, you guys. I thought I was gonna lose it. And to be honest with you, if I would have lost it, it wouldn't have broke my heart because this one is kind of a pain in the butt. But since I cut it back within the last, I don't know, 8 weeks or so, it's put out tons of new growth, as you can see. And it's doing very well. So again, I'm just careful with the watering on this guy. And I water with distilled water only. You can see it's getting some new growth here. So this plant's on the mend, thankfully. Calathea Medallion. Up here I have my gorgeous Philodendron Brazil. Looks like she has a yellowing leaf in here. We'll take that off. Philodendron Brazil, very pretty. A staple in most plant collectors' collections, I believe. Very nice grower, fast grower, beautiful leaves. Philodendron Brazil. Back here, I have another Sansevieria. This one is the Sansevieria xylanica. Had this one for about 5 years. Not really a whole lot to say about this guy. You know, for the most part, I mean, I never have any problems with it. It is a slow grower, but you know what? I don't mind that. Because when they do grow, they do get very tall. They can get, after a few years, they can get very large. So I'm happy with the slow growth of this guy. That's the Sansevieria xylanica. If we come over here, my little kitty's taking a nap. Up here I have the Neon Pothos. This one's been repotted a couple times. I've almost lost it a couple times, but she's still here with us, thankfully. I love this one, love the color of the leaves. Can't go wrong with a pothos. Here to the right, I have my Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess, another gorgeous Hoya. This one is starting to get a little burnt on the backside, so I'm thinking I may put up a sheer curtain in this window, just on the backside there, to prevent it from getting any more burnt. That's the Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess. Love the variegation on these leaves as well. This one has the inner variegation, and the Carnosa Crimson Queen has the outer variegation. the white on the outsides of the leaves, as you can see that. And then if we come over here to the right, this one is my Snow Queen Pothos. This one I've had for so long. I would say probably 4 or 5 years again. This one I repotted several times. I've almost lost it a couple times, but she's back to her beautiful self. Very large, very beautiful. Love the variegation of the leaves. That one is the Snow Queen Pothos. Over here I have a Dracaena. This one is your standard corn plant. Nothing too exciting about this guy. It needs to be dusted. This one I've had for so long, and I've considered a few times of just passing it on, but I just can't bring myself to do so. Like I said, it's just a pretty basic, your basic corn plant Dracaena. And beneath that, here is my gorgeous Syndapsis Exotica. So I recently, a couple months ago, I repotted this one as well, and it was doing great initially, and I had it in my east-facing window, and I think it was getting a little bit too much sunlight, so some of the leaves started to get burned a little bit. You can see where some of these are a little bit lighter than, like, say, this side. These leaves over here are a little bit darker. But all in all, it's doing okay. I really love this plant. This is one of my favorites for sure. It's putting on some new growth, so I really can't complain. And these are the sections. This is the side that got a little too much sunlight, so at least it's not dying off. That is the Syndapsis Exotica. The last plant in my living room is this Ficus Ruby. So this is my Ficus Elastica Ruby, and you can tell the difference between the Taniki and the Ruby because in the sunlight these guys get really deep dark red coloring to the leaves, where the Tanikis, no matter how much sunlight you give them, they will get a little bit pink, a little bit of a pink coloring to the leaves, but nothing like the rubies, you guys. The rubies get a deep, dark burgundy color. So this one is the Ficus Elastica Ruby. Gorgeous. Okay, my friends, that concludes part 2 of my living room houseplant tour. And in about a week or so, I will have my sunroom plant tour up, and that will consist probably of 2 parts. So if you are enjoying my content and if you enjoyed these last 2 houseplant tour videos, part 1 and part 2, please don't forget to like the videos and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Both of those things help to put my channel out there, and it also lets me know that you're enjoying my content and what types of videos you like to see. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.